Price didn't make the list. The house did, because she's a vengeful, stupid whore.
Hello and welcome to the final podcast, the last podcast you will ever listen to. We are the creators of the Spooky Pit, the innovators of the Passion Bump, and we take you down the darkest rabbit holes of all things horror.
Welcome, spooky bitches. We review horror movies and fuck 'em with comedy. We are your final bros, Brian Hotboy LaGrassa and Shane, that sadistic fuck Smith. And we are joined by our Scream Queen, Jen, the producer.
Yes, Brian and Shane are slightly drunk and I am delirious from exhaustion. This should be a great episode.
Yeah, so we'll just throw it out there. We are recording this episode the same night we just recorded the 50th.
Yeah, it's gonna be a slurred. I'm gonna refer this as a slurred episode. We had a lot of shots. I know Jen's been drinking as well. She's tired. She's got work in the morning, but we're gonna give it our best.
Well, this is the perfect movie to do because it's not a serious movie. It's a fun movie. You got Jeffrey Rush overacting. You got Chris Kattan. Let's jump right into the Spooky Pit.
Shane, you fucking doggy dog. Stephen Price, an amusement park tycoon, offers several guests $1 million to spend the night in a haunted house that was the whereabouts of a sadistic surgeon. House on Haunted Hill was released in 1999, directed by William Malone. It's a horror crime starring Jeffrey Rush as Stephen Price, Famke Janssen as Evelyn. Doesn't even have a last name. Really doesn't.
Probably
maybe Evelyn Price,
because they're married.
They're married. You're right, because I actually don't think they were divorced, but like her credits in IMDb just say Evelyn. But you're right.
They didn't refer to her as Evelyn Price.
But she is technically Evelyn Price.
Yeah, and she never got divorced, so that makes sense. Tay Diggs as Eddie, Peter Gallagher as Blackburn, Chris Kattan as Pritchett, Ali Larder as Sarah, Bridget Wilson Sampras as Melissa Marr, Max Perlich as Schechter, and Jeffrey Combs, our boy, as Dr. Vanikat. He would be the fantastic doctor.
Incredible.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
The guy who is the house owner, and I was actually waiting for us to record to ask this instead of texting it to you. The guy who plays like later after like our flashbacks real quick, the owner of the house, is that the guy in the live action Scooby-Doo?
No.
In the second live action Scooby-Doo movie.
Playing what part in Scooby-Doo?
Yeah. Playing
The
what part?
Velma's love interest.
That's Seth Green.
Yeah, I was going to say that's Seth Green.
Is that the same guy?
No,
No.
that's Chris Kattan. No.
They're very similar.
They're both short, and they're both very like charismatic.
And they're both funny.
They're both funny, yeah.
They talk like the same way because you know how that guy's. I like can't explain it. Like kind of like a derpy talk.
Have you ever seen Night at the Roxbury?
Yo, he's the same guy from Santa Slay in the beginning. He does the fucking karate.
Yeah, that is the guy from Santa Slay.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Chris Kattan.
Do you see why I mistook him for that Scooby-Doo guy though?
No, I do.
No, yeah,
I
it makes
get
sense.
Mhm.
Okay. I did it. I was gonna research it, but I thought I would just ask.
I'm just going to throw it out there since we're talking about him. Chris Kattan, honestly, was amazing.
He's like so under fucking rated, dude. He's so funny.
Yeah, from what I think I remember, he got into a really bad car accident that like really messed up his back, and that's why he hasn't like been able to act since then.
Dude, yeah. 'Cause
That sucks.
his like early
Chris
2000s work.
Yeah.
This is an open message to Chris Kattan. Please come on our podcast.
Dude,
I would love it.
love Chris Kattan. He's-
Night at the Roxbury with him and Farrell is like legit like one of my favorite comedies.
It's because the chemistry of those two is just like fucking so on point.
Yeah.
Banter back to back. It's just phenomenal. It's almost as good as me and you and Jen.
Yeah. Like even his like movies people don't like. I love Corky Romano.
Me too.
I honestly think it's
Me too.
hilarious.
Me too. Totally awesome.
Oh, he's so good.
That
Totally
is a
awesome.
fucking underrated movie.
Really is. Okay, so we're not here to talk just about Chris Kattan though. We're
House
here.
on Haunted
We
Hill.
could.
Exactly. We could, but we won't.
This is a movie I watched as a young
Mhm.
kid, and as a young kid, it scared me. It didn't scare me now, obviously, but as a young kid, for some reason, it freaked me out. You know what scene freaked me out? We're gonna get to it, but the scene where he go to the Schechter, I think his name is, the guard that turns over and his face is missing.
That scene is actually still scary.
That
today.
Oh.
scene fucked me up when I was
Yeah.
that scared the shit out of me as like I was like an 8-year-old kid when this
Yeah.
movie came out.
That's the one
Mhm.
scene I think really, really still holds up. That is scary. Like some of the CGI is like
The fucking ghost at the end, yeah.
it sucks, but like I still
That was
actually
weird.
like this movie.
I also like this movie.
So let's get into it.
This was my first time viewing this movie because I told you guys before we recorded, I've only viewed the one from like what, the 50s, the black and white one.
Yeah, I think it's late
Yeah,
50s.
that
I think,
I've only seen that one. I had no idea that they remade this. Oh, I probably should have told you guys. If you listened to our episodes earlier this month, Cube that came out, researching it, I found out that Cube actually has like a remake that came out this year.
They remade Cube?
Cube, was it
Really?
Cube? Yeah, I think so.
I have to check that out. Is it
I
under the
saw-
same name?
Yeah, I think so because I remember I had trouble finding it and I typed in Cube and there was like a Cube 2021 and I was like, did they remake this?
Whoa, I gotta check that out. That'd
Yeah.
be sick.
Go back and listen to that episode. We might do that in like the next 3 years. So this is a great time to do that.
You also had a complete fucking stranger in studio for them.
Yeah.
That was really
Good
fun.
times. Good times.
Good times.
Since we're talking remakes, it's a good time to mention that Jeffrey Rush, as you said, plays Stephen Price, which is a play on the original movie,
Mhm.
which Vincent Price was the main character of that movie, the actor.
That's interesting.
Doesn't he look like him too? Like they made him look like him?
They did. They tried to make him
Look
look
that
like him.
thin ass mustache.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
They didn't do that on purpose. They wanted him to look like the complete opposite, but felt like he didn't look enough like a tacky business guy. So like the wardrobe or whoever like dressed him up a little without like even realizing what they were doing and made him look like him. And they were just like, you know what? We'll keep it.
Perfect.
Love it.
I think they did a great job.
And
Yeah.
now, all right, I was going to jump into it, but now I might as well just mention there are 3 characters in this movie I absolutely fucking love. And I'm just curious if you guys agree on the 3.
I don't know their
Jeffrey
names. You're
Rush,
really gonna-
Stephen Price.
Of course.
It's Chris Kattan as Pritchard.
Of course.
And it's Famke Jensen as Evelyn because she is such a cunt, and it is in
No, she's
like
great.
I mean in
She's
the
great.
perfect way.
No,
I love it.
I actually am a huge Famke Janssen fan. She's actually one of my favorite from the first 2 X-Men movies. I love her. I like them both. I also really like Jeffrey Combs in this minor role as the sadistic surgeon. Like you see,
I think I only know 2 of the characters of which you mentioned. I have no idea who the middle one was.
Who's the middle one that you
Chris
mentioned?
Kattan as Pritchard.
Yeah,
Wait, who's Pritchard?
He's the guy who owns the house.
I think his name is
Oh.
Watson Pritchard.
It is,
Yeah.
but they only call him Pritchard in the movie, really.
Gotcha. You don't like our Final Destination girl?
Ali Larder. I love
personally.
her.
I love Ali Larder, but like
that was a
in this-
90s crush for me,
Yeah.
by the way.
Mhm.
Ali Larder was a 90s crush.
I didn't know
early
she was in
2000s.
this one.
I just feel like personally in this movie, I think I like those other characters a lot more.
Oh, of course.
But yeah, like Ali Larder is awesome overall.
I thought their casting for this movie was pretty good in general.
Yeah, even
Oh,
Blackburn,
great.
the guy who plays Blackburn, I liked
Oh,
Blackburn's character.
Peter Gallagher.
Yeah.
he did American Beauty the same year.
Yeah.
99 or
I
so.
like his character.
Yeah.
Okay, so we open up in this insane asylum, and you literally see the doctor Jeffrey Combs dissecting a man alive.
Literally cutting him open.
This is gonna be really fucked up. I'm not gonna get too far deep into the history because it's a really just long and sad history that these asylums were real. And it kind of was just like you could have the smallest thing off about you. You could have any sort of like depression or anything. You would literally just be sent away. And it wasn't like you were getting sent to like get fixed. Like you would be sent there and you would literally never leave. And that's what they were like forever. And then like I believe like the US government cut funding. And even though these places were terrible places, they essentially cut the funding for places like this and pretty much released all these people. Just was like, all right, you don't have to be here anymore. Goodbye.
You're on your own. Good luck.
Yeah, it was terrible. But I don't think I would do it justice to go deep into the history. So what I did do is I went into the history of some of the torture devices real quick. So they show up pretty similarly together. I'm just going to talk about them now to get them out of the way. Also, I want to see your reactions. So the one chamber, it's called the saturation chamber, and it's the one where one of the characters that we'll name later has to put the goggles on because it's like pictures just moving around.
That shit is
Let
so
me see.
fucked up, man.
It really is.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So it was invented by Dr. Richard Vinnicott.
They actually took the same guy's last name because the surgeon is named
Did
Vannicut.
they really?
Yeah, the surgeon in this movie is named Vannicut.
Okay, so maybe that was a reference, but I'm not. But this is from like the wiki about it, so I could just be reading like incorrectly. But who knows?
He's got a different first name, I think, but the last name is the same.
It's definitely Vannicut.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking it up.
Yeah, was invented by Richard B. Vannicut during the early 20th century. It was a treatment for schizophrenia, And the chamber's walls spin when it's activated, and they have pictures of Dr. Vanica bouncing a basketball, which I don't know if that's particular to the movie because this is the wiki for the movie.
That's in the
or
movie.
if it's or if it was actually like, I know that this thing exists. I just don't know if that was the actual picture. And so when the chamber is activated, the picture on the moving walls will form like a moving picture, which causes anyone who is inside the saturated chamber at the time to hallucinate and become disoriented. And that just sounds horrifying.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. It's literally just even watching it in the movie, and you can only imagine, like, this is the movie. You can only imagine what it's like in real life. It looks terrifying.
Yeah, and I couldn't very much break down because we really only saw that and electroshock therapy. And then, like, we saw him, obviously, this movie opens with them operating on a patient. Do you remember when this took place, that beginning, like what year it took place?
1931.
Yeah.
So this was also before, I'm pretty sure anesthesia wasn't invented till like the 50s, sometime in the late 50s. So all these patients, like all that was being done while they were awake and not under any anesthesia. So if we go back to Event Horizon, being cut open while awake and feeling everything and not being able to do anything about it, that sounds awful. And the last one was, yeah, big fear, not fun. And the last one was electroshock therapy. I just did like a quick Google for it, and it is a procedure and it's done under general anesthesia, which obviously, since this is like before anesthesia, it is not done under anesthesia in this movie. And it's where you give small electric currents that are passed through the brain, and it's intentionally triggering a brief seizure, so you're pretty much inducing a seizure. And I think it's called ECT, electroshock therapy, seems to cause changes in the brain chemistry, and it can quickly reverse symptoms of certain mental health conditions, or that's what it was said. And it still is legal in the United States, even though it's illegal to give a patient younger than 18 in Texas and Colorado electric shock therapy. But in some cases, with the permission of the court, doctors can force very sick patients to get electroshock therapy still.
Yikes.
Yeah.
I didn't know that you could actually still do that.
Yep.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, one of my favorite movies. It just rings a bell, but that movie just hits home.
That's a great movie.
The whole concept of like trying to avoid going to jail, but getting like something that could even be worse.
I didn't know that it was still legal.
No, either. It's kind of mind blowing. I didn't know that.
And like, there's all these questions. It's like, does electroshock therapy really work? Does it make you worse? Can it change your personality? And it pretty much says like it may have a role in people who have comorbid depression and anxiety. I don't really know that word, comorbid, but in a lot of, it says in some psychiatric cases, but I'm going to say most, it says it can help with depressive symptoms, but it does say in bold, it could worsen anxiety symptoms, including obsessional thoughts or panic attacks. So I don't think there's a high success rate.
Probably not.
Just my personal opinion, especially with the amount of electroshock therapy they seem to be giving patients here.
I mean, like, I'll be honest, like, I have no idea.
I have no,
like, there's a reason why they were doing them, and obviously we've advanced and evolved in that field. I can't speak to the success rate of electroshock therapy. For me, it sounds kind of insane, but who knows? I mean, remember the Devil's Review? We were talking about like how people back in the day thought they had all these like different kind of holistic or like fucking bugs and crocodiles and things that they were doing. And that stuff seemed to work for them. So I'm not going to judge old methods, but they did seem like extreme. Like
so we're probably going to judge them a little bit.
Lobotomy, I can judge. That's fucking crazy.
Yo, the guys who were originally doing lobotomies, like one of the main ones, like if you look it up, because I actually did I did a whole like deep dive into lobotomies like a few weeks ago, just for this moment. And that they used to make it like a show. Like there's some people who got lobotomies as kids. Like if you literally were a kid and misbehaved, you could go get your kid a lobotomy. And some of the doctor, and the one doctor, I don't remember his name like right off the bat, I could probably text it to you later, he would perform like 200 a day or something, like something crazy. He would literally have people 100
lobotomies. We had people lining up for lobotomies.
This is the thing where like people would ice pick in your your eye, right? Yeah. So literally he would have them lining up outside his office and walk in and walk out, and he would take pictures. Sometimes he would do like 2 at a time, like in the same person. It was horrendous.
Yeah.
It was so bad.
Dark.
It was so dark. And you can literally find the pictures because he took pictures of all of them.
Yikes.
Right? They were probably doing it at this place too.
Yeah, so I was going to suggest not a lobotomy, but live stream electroshock therapy on Brian. See if it works. See what happens.
Let's do it.
I think it'd be good content for the Insta.
Yeah, let's put it up for the Insta. Why not?
Should we do a live?
Oh yeah,
live. Yeah,
It might be
live.
too
Live
much, it might be too much
electroshock therapy.
downtime.
But I want you guys both to do it because I don't trust anybody else.
No, I got it. I know how to turn dials.
I don't think we have dials anymore.
We're using old equipment.
Okay.
We got to go find an insane asylum.
Speaking of old equipment, this man is he's sharpening his pencils, and he's sharpening a lot of pencils. 5 of them, I think, to be exact.
Is that what he's doing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Asylum patients escape and stab him in the neck. Brutal.
Literally stab him. I actually don't even know if this is possible, but they jammed it all the way through his neck.
You could definitely jam a pencil into someone's neck and like I don't know if you could get through the other side.
Through the side, though.
Because that's a lot. But it's the blood everywhere.
Yeah.
They then like start drowning a woman. They disembowel the doctor. And it is just insane.
It's a total gore fest. It's actually a pretty cool scene.
It is.
But it's a little disturbing because they're like raping the ladies there in a way. They're like fucking drowning them and shit.
Yeah, they're definitely ripping the one's like shirt off. And
But
that's going.
Exactly.
We definitely before that, did we mention that like Davis, like in the middle of a procedure being done that they're recording, they've escaped. And that's why we're seeing all this because they have a camera.
That's good to bring up.
And like you said, they're recording their procedures. There's clearly someone there that was recording what the doctor's doing.
And we learned that while this is happening, a fire breaks out. And we learned that everyone except 5 people died in this asylum fire, whatever.
You said except 5 people? I thought they all died.
No,
5 people
survived.
lived. There's 5 survivors.
I misunderstood.
It is an important plot point.
It's very important. Yeah. That's why we had to bring it up. So we now cut to Evelyn. Super hot, super in a bathtub, and she calls her husband, Mr. Price, who is currently at his theme park.
I agree that she's super hot.
Famcake Jensen is fucking gorgeous.
I do love her. I also agree with you that he's at a theme park.
Thank you, because that is in the movie. But it's also his theme park, and he's basically there. He's being interviewed by this news reporter.
It's Lisa Loeb.
Is that who that is?
He's interviewed by Lisa Loeb.
The cameraman also looks like Spike from Buffy.
Because it is.
I was watching. I was like, is that fucking Spike?
It's Spike. Yep. Confirmed. James Marsters.
That's awesome. So he's like, telling them about this coaster. And she's like, what makes your coaster so special? And he's like, have you ever seen one that starts at the top?
Starts 20 stories high.
I freaking called his trick before it happened with the elevator.
You knew that was going to go down like that?
Well, as soon as it started to happen, I was just like, what are the odds? And then like kind of just based on how he was acting, I was like,
this is like Tower of Terror meets Nitro though. Like it's
exactly what it is.
It's fucking awesome. Like this is the greatest roller coaster idea ever.
He's also just amazing. Jeffrey Rush. Like every scene he steals it. He's so good.
Love him.
So they get in the elevator and then like it gets there and it stalls and then like it looks like it's a glass elevator, so you could see the top, and the cable snaps, and they start plummeting down, and then Spike is like jumping up, like that's going to save him from his impending doom.
I always thought that though. Like if an elevator crashes and it hits the ground, if you jump up before it hits the ground, are you okay?
What I think, and I'm not a science
Gravity
guy,
will pull you down.
It pull you down, and still, even if it doesn't kill you, your fucking knees are shooting like out of your body.
I think so.
Yeah.
But we'll have Melvin on to ask him about that. After that, it was all like part of the thing, and it was just a TV screen essentially at the top. It wasn't actually a window. And he's like, okay, they're just at the top. It was all like, momentum and shaking and stuff. And then they get on the roller coaster, and this roller coaster is actually not real. It's literally impossible to do what they are doing.
Yeah, it's really cool. It builds up fucking fear. It's really cool. I really like the idea, but no.
So even after like during this roller coaster scene, like even before like the reporter and the cameraman get on the roller coaster, he is like ready for the next like surprise or something, and then the roller coaster goes by him, which they had to animate in because if a real roller coaster had actually gone that close to him, and I did look this up, the wind from the roller coaster would have swept him up and catapulted him.
That's interesting. I didn't even think of that. I was just too busy watching him lift his glasses, and it goes, now the real scary part starts.
Yeah, well, basically they're on the roller coaster and the fucking track is off.
Yes. So this roller coaster, just we'll throw out, Bryce is now on the phone with his beautiful wife, Evelyn. The roller coaster...
Boner check?
Oh, no, I'm rock solid. So the roller coaster, like Brian said, the track goes up. So you see an actual car of mannequins fly off the roller coaster. And like, so now the reporter and the cameraman think they're literally going to die. And then the track fixes itself and they just go fine. My question is, how expensive is it to blow up essentially your coasters every other ride?
Every other ride you're gonna experience of your life. Those coasters probably cost a lot of money. It is not sustainable.
Yeah.
This
Are
would never
too
work.
expensive.
Yeah, like there's no way, like, right, you're always throwing off the cart and like,
No chance.
it is really cool though.
Yeah.
I like to watch.
Find it funny. I didn't catch immediately that like everyone else on the ride was a dummy until like they were like, the dummy on the right keeps losing his arm. We'll just like replace him with like a screamer.
Yeah, it's really funny stuff. On the phone, Evelyn is telling Bryce that like, oh, I hope you have my guest list ready for my big party. Is it a specific birthday or just a birthday in general? I don't remember if they
It's just her birthday.
It's just a general birthday. Okay. Then it cuts to Price in his office and he's like, I got your guest list right here, sweetie. He shreds it and starts typing up his own.
But
He walks out of the room and the computer types up its own guest list.
Who's being invited here?
So the people being invited here are Ali Larter's character, Blackburn, I can't remember, which is Peter Gallagher,
The doctor.
the reporter, and then the former football player. I also can't remember. Eddie. Yes, Eddie. It's just the four of them, right, being invited?
Ali Larter, she goes by two different names in the movie. She goes by Sarah later, but in the beginning she goes by I think like Jennifer or something. She goes by a different name.
By her boss's name.
Yeah, she goes by her boss's name. I think it's Jennifer.
So they all roll up to the gates and they are greeted by Chris Kattan's character, Pritchard. He is the owner of this house.
I have him in my notes as Watson. So if I say Watson, his name is actually Watson Pritchard. So it's the same person.
That's fair.
Yeah.
He basically is like, all right, let me get you in this house. What we'll learn about him is he wants absolutely nothing to do with being inside of this
He's
asylum.
fucking terrified of this place.
Yeah.
He does not want to be here. So everyone's arriving in limos to the venue. Pritchard meets them outside, ushers them toward the house. Is this a foyer?
It's a foyer.
This is a foyer. Evelyn arrives and the ceiling breaks and Eddie runs to protect her. So, I mean, it's already going down south.
Yeah, she actually would have died here because it's a big chunk of glass that lands right next to her face.
I think they even mentioned like the top is still authentic to how it was back in 1931, right?
So we break it.
And and then like very ungrateful. She's like, get off of me.
Yeah. He's like, I literally probably just saved your life.
No, 100%. Then Mr. Price shows up and he says, who will be the first to die this evening? Basically, he is making this a game. The whole point is if you spend the entire night in the house, you get $1 million. If someone dies in the house, their money will then be divvied up amongst the other people. But if they want to leave right now, they get a sum of how much money?
I don't remember.
It's just like
shit. It's not a lot.
Like a few million.
No.
But that's if they make it.
That's if they make it.
If they don't make it.
It's just 100,000. I think.
Yeah, something like that. I forgot
that amount's not that important. All you need to know is Pritchard's like literally, okay, I'll take the losers' money and I'll go right now. Yeah. I don't want to be here.
You know what I don't get whatsoever?
What
is that we find out pretty quickly that neither Evelyn nor Price is it, right?
Yeah.
Neither Evelyn nor Price know who any of these guests are. And I was just kind of generally confused why he just decided to continue to be a good showman and not be like, who the fuck are you guys? Because she clearly says it too. She's like, who the hell are these people?
But that's the thing. Their relationship, he's a trickster and she's a cunt. So they just like think they're lying to each other.
They're both so sadistic.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, they're all have motive. They both have motives.
Which is why I don't think they ever actually believe each other that they don't know. Because even really late in the movie, there's a character where Evelyn's like, so she's working for him, right? And we haven't We will get to it when we
Yes,
come to it. But
yes.
yeah, so they actually never assume the other one's telling the truth, which is why I accept that they accept that these people are here.
Wait,
It's
which she is working for him?
I don't want to like get too deep into it. It's the reporter though.
Melissa.
Yeah.
Reporter.
Um,
Which one's the reporter?
Melissa Marr is the one played by
The girl from Billy Madison.
yeah.
Oh,
so-
the other blonde one?
the other
Yeah.
blonde one, yeah.
Oh, was she? I don't know.
So Evelyn and Steven, they enter a room together where she basically yells at him for not inviting her guests.
Yeah.
He tells her the people down there are not the ones that he in fact invited. And then he makes note of a few attempts where she may or may not have tried to kill him. She mentions she plans to call a cab and leave. Steven tells them they'll earn the money only if they survive the night, like Shane mentioned.
Mhm.
Anyone uncomfortable with the role are free to walk, like Shane said. Blackburn is a doctor. Melissa is a celebrity.
She's like a celebrity former game show hostess or something
Yeah, she
like
used
that.
to have a TV show.
Or like a reporter. It's like she has a camera.
Eddie's a former pro baseball player, right? And Jennifer is an executive VP, which we'll find out that's not true.
Yes. Another thing we should mention, because this was said already, Pritchard's family has always owned this building, and you'll learn that he thinks the house is like kind of like killing off his family, because he says, yeah, my grandpa died in a hospital, but my dad died in a construction accident in this place. So he thinks the house is cursed.
He thinks it killed his family.
Yes.
Yeah. He mentions that. It's a good point.
I
Shane.
would never have stepped back in it.
Well, to be fair to him, he's really only doing it for the money. He wants to get this quick buck and get out of here before anything happens.
Now, Jen, I know you can't see this, but I can see this from my vantage point about Shane. Shane's got very good hair on his arms. I'm really noticing it now. He's got great hair to skin ratio.
Can I have a
good.
picture for later?
Yeah, I'll send you a picture
Okay.
of it.
Okay,
He's actually
cool.
wearing mesh shorts too, so I can see his high thigh.
Yeah, I do have high thigh right now.
I just need a clear visual.
Yeah, Shane, can you get that closer to the camera for Jen?
I
Please.
mean, I would have to like lean over.
Yeah, please. You can do it.
Be respectful. We have a lady on
Yeah.
the program. Shane,
A
come
lady,
on.
my high thigh.
Yes, please.
My high thigh.
I'm a big fan of collecting high thigh.
Oh my god.
Pritchett yells at Steve
Who are you?
for his check. Watson takes the money, but before they leave, they start hearing noise inside the house as it appears to be locking down.
Yeah, and Pritchard books for the front door. He is running, but all these giant metal like slabs, like they just close, and like the doors are closed, the windows are closed. There is no way
He's
out.
Panicking. He's like, oh, this is how they all died in 1931. Dr. Vannegut threw the switch. And then he says, yeah, only 5 members from his sadistic staff survived.
Mm-hmm.
The house is alive. They're all going to die. Stephen tells Blackburn it wasn't him who locked down the house, because obviously they're blaming him because he's the host. Eddie and Jennifer now, they tell Pritchett that they can go downstairs to try to flip the switch. They're not going to want to go down there. Don't go down
Because it's
there.
a goddamn maze.
It's a maze.
How you can get lost? You probably get killed by the ghost doctor. It basically says that.
Yeah.
Dude, this place is so freaking, like, when they show this place from the outside, I'm just like, this place is enormous.
Huge.
It's huge. Absolutely huge. There's legit, it's like legit 20 stories.
It's literally the exact opposite of my penis.
And it's just like on a cliff. Like
Yeah,
Which is
perfect
also
cliff
the
setting.
exact opposite of Brian's penis.
True. It's banned from cliffs.
Yeah, no, you can't go near him anymore.
No, definitely not.
Evelyn warns everyone
Yeah.
to watch out for anything Stephen may have prepared for them. Stephen then guides them towards a coffin full of firearms they can use to protect themselves. It's a coffin, right?
Yeah, they're coffins. They're mini coffins with the guns. He actually refers to them as his party favors.
What a gracious host.
He's a great host. I think he even makes a... Is it here where he makes the joke about his wife killing him with the gun? Or is it later on?
I think it's later on.
It's later on?
Yeah.
So at this point, they all have their party favors. So it's time to go into the basement to party like it's 1999. And when they first get into the basement, just like 1999, it's filled with deformed fetuses and creatures.
You could only assume there's formaldehyde on formaldehyde.
Exactly. Going around, there's rubble everywhere. It almost falls and crushes Sarah at one point.
Yeah, there's that ceiling that collapses.
Yeah.
But Eddie, being a great baseball player, obviously pulls her to safety.
But then we cut to Price, and he goes upstairs into this like
The command center.
Command
Control
center,
room with all the cameras.
And there's a man in there.
Carl, I think his name is
Yes.
Schechter. Carl Schechter, I think.
Which he asked him, how'd you do the whole thing with the house? Like, how'd you close it down? He's like, that wasn't me. Maybe it was just the house's time to go. So now
Evelyn must have had something to do
Yep.
with it. Jennifer notices a hole in the wall, and she mentions that it appears someone went through a lot of trouble to try to seal that hole up. Watson mentions he's never been in that hole, I guess, through that area of the wall. As they walk away, the camera pans over to reveal blood on the wall. You hear the sounds of patients. It looks like something's moving, and you'll see what that is later. But they notice a cobweb operating room of the old sadistic doctor. I think they said that he would like zap 18 patients at a time.
Yeah, this is the electroshock room.
Yeah. Then they enter the doctor's saturation chamber that Jen mentioned earlier, where he would shock patients. With saturation chamber is actually the one with the hallucinations, right?
Yeah. So the idea of the saturation chamber, which I think Jen mentioned anyway, but I'll just repeat it because they actually say it in this scene, is the idea is that a saturation chamber, if you show them images and noises that would make a sane person crazy, it would in turn make a crazy person sane.
Yep.
That's the whole idea behind it, which is crazy.
Yeah. For me, I don't understand it, but okay.
Yeah, I don't think the science checks out there.
No.
But that's just like my opinion, man. Now, this is my question. How do Eddie and Sarah get separated from the group here?
It makes no sense. They're just like ghosts. Yeah, they were been together. I have no idea.
I assume it's like kind of like because the ghosts kind of do play tricks here. So maybe they like kind of just separate themselves. Maybe the Blair Witch is down there.
Ghosted.
They do get ghosted here because the Blair Witch was there. She started shifting things around. They got lost. Eddie, he has to lift up Sarah to get to this like wiring. And he gives a little like...
He gives an ass squeeze. She's a little uncomfortable with it, but she kind of likes it a little bit.
You know, yeah, she was kind of into it.
He's a hot dude with a tight bod.
This is a hot dude's tight chicks.
Yeah.
We haven't had it for a while, and now we got it.
So...
This is kind of a mini passion bump?
I think so.
This is a passion bump.
Squeeze. She liked it. It was sexy. It was hot.
With it.
Tay Diggs, he was popular in that early 2000s, late 90s, right?
Yeah, and then he wasn't anymore.
We'll give it to them.
He was in Rent.
Was he really?
I think so.
He was in Rent.
Passion bump. Passion bump. Passion bump. So the lights go on. They flirt a little bit. Like we said, a little steamy. And then somehow the two of them get separated.
Yeah.
Once again, Blair Witch is down there playing tricks on everyone.
Of course.
Then she thinks she sees Eddie and she calls out to him, but he stops answering and just keeps walking. And then like she keeps following him. And then I'm going to call this the blood vat.
I actually have blood pool, but when I was watching the movie, I'm going to go with that because it was like a smaller version of a pool. So we could go with blood vat.
And Eddie just jumps into it.
Yeah.
And she like throws her arms in and she's like reaching for him. She's like, Eddie, where are you?
I'm a little surprised that she would. I mean, I guess because she thinks it's Eddie, she wants to like
save him.
But like, really? I mean, like, I don't know. He's not above the blood. He's below the blood.
Yeah. So she's just like trying to reach for him. And then while she's doing that, though, Eddie shows up. He's like, what are you
He's
doing?
like, oh, hey, you guys want Dunkin' Donuts? No, but seriously, like, and she thought he was in the blood vat. And then she sees Eddie outside of the blood vat. And I think she finally breaks grip with what's holding her in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he helps her get out of there.
Then they head back to the lobby. They meet up with Evelyn, Steven, and Blackburn.
Mm-hmm.
And Pritchett warns them, this is nothing. There is an evil corroding this place. Like, they've not seen anything yet. He's prepared for the absolute worst.
He calls it the darkness.
Yes.
Not the Xbox 360 game.
Nice.
Thank you.
Steven proposes they all stick together. Melissa is videotaping all the creepy, she's by herself, all the creepy corpses and experiments and formaldehyde as she walks through the house. As she records, she starts to see operations from behind the camera.
And I do love when movies do this, that she looks away from the camera and she doesn't see him. Only the camera picks up the ghosts.
Yeah, it's like the shutter shit.
Yeah.
So like, or like what's the game? Crimson Butterfly?
Yeah.
Fail frame. It's when you take the pictures, but this is like she's recording, like video recording, I think, right?
Yeah.
So when she lowers it, she doesn't see anything. But when she raises it, she sees the doc. It's just creepy, like 1930s doctors operating. And then like all of a sudden
they notice her.
And they look at her. And fucking Jeffrey Combs is literally terrifying.
He is. It's great. But then you get like the like a kind of like alien jump scare, like that, like weird thing, and just starts shaking its face.
It like fucking like takes to her the face and like it's all teeth.
Yeah.
Alien. It's
It honestly looks like Chatter from Hellraiser.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like. She just starts screaming, and that's it. Cuts up to upstairs where they hear the scream. Is it Pritchard's like, I think we've
Melissa's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just very like blunt about it. And Evelyn actually also says, I guess she found what she was looking for.
Yeah. Yeah. I think because he's like, she would have been back by now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if I'm not mistaken, does he try to pull the moves on Evelyn at some point? Tries to get a quick lay-in?
Okay. So it's right here.
This scene cracked me up.
I love it. So I'll say it right now. They go downstairs to go find Melissa after like they hear the scream, but Pritchard and Evelyn don't go. And Pritchard's basically like, man, really would like to have sex before I die tonight. And he looks over at her, just saying, and she just glares at him. He's like, never mind.
Well, no, he literally like goes to her and he's like, so how are you tonight?
Yeah.
And she's just like, don't even think about it.
Yeah, she was just like,
that scene cracked me up so much. It kind of reminded me of the Night of the Demon scene.
Yes.
Where like Angela is coming on to like the guy in the nurse's outfit and like so hard, like she just sucks down a bottle trying to like get him to want to sleep with her.
It's not even like sucking it down. I know what you mean. She's sucking on the bottle.
Yeah, she's literally sucking on like a wine bottle. And he gets so awkward. He gets up and leaves. Who's our favorite titty monster? What's her name?
Suzanne.
Suzanne is laughing so hard. And that's like one of my favorite scenes in that movie because it's just like the epitome of watching someone get rejected, but horribly, and then not being able to help it but laugh.
I mean, Chris Kattan takes this well, though. He shoots a shot, sees it's no, just goes back to the bottle of scotch.
Perfect.
So they find a pool of blood and Melissa's camera, but no Melissa. They look up and they notice the blood splatter is smeared all over the walls, the ceiling of the house. Eddie makes sure to ruin Pritchard's chances of getting hammered by destroying his scotch because he literally trashes it. Poor guy. Can't even get drunk.
He's like, that's my good scotch.
So Sarah pulls up Melissa's footage that shows her on the ground, bloody and getting dragged somewhere, but you don't really see what she's getting dragged by.
No.
Evelyn comes in and claps, thinking that Steven has something. Like they just fucking think each other are involved in what's going on.
And I love that, like you said, she thinks it's Price. So then Evelyn takes her gun and shoots it, and like she kind of like fires it at Price, and Price is like super confused because he's like, I put blanks in him, and she's like, funky house, ain't it? And she just like gives him that like she's like so perfect in this movie. Yeah, the two of them, like
they're good.
I wish they did more movies together.
Yeah, they're good. Good chemistry. Evelyn tells them she's retiring to her bedroom, and if they bother her, she's going to shoot them in the head.
Yeah, she's very blunt about that.
Eddie hands Sarah a gun. We probably should mention this now. We did mention it, but like Jennifer and Sarah are the same character. She just used her boss's name to get there. So her real name is like Sarah Wolf or something like that. But Eddie hands Sarah a gun and mentions what good is $1 million if you're dead, basically. Yeah. So survival is obviously extremely important to them.
Price like looks at them and he's like, I wasn't actually trying to murder my wife. Like there's so many witnesses. I wouldn't have done it with everyone here.
Yeah.
Because they think he loaded the guns that someone would kill his wife.
Steven, he's going to walk into the camera room and he's like talking as he's walking in. He's like, Karl, how's she pulling this off? And as he does that, turns around the chair. Karl's face is gone.
It's terrifying. It's still a scary scene. Because it actually looks like real. Like the way it's so like carved. It's like it's a hole in his head with just the blood like pouring out.
Yeah, this scene was scary for me as a kid. I remember it's still scary today. It's well shot. The timing is perfect.
Especially when they pan to the camera footage and you see the doctor walking by and it's like
creepy.
It's a
creepy, shifty walk.
Yeah.
Love it. Why I like this scene so much is because he's walking in there, he's talking, because he's already been in there. So you expect he's just going to have another conversation with this guy. But obviously he's not going to be having that conversation. One, it's not as chatty anymore.
And I believe he sees the doctor heading towards Evelyn's room.
Yes.
So he runs there. And the rest of the group's trying to figure out how to get the hell out of this building.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But as all this is happening, you now start to see the lights flicker. And that's when Pritchard says, I think it's the electroshock room. So they all run there. And that's where you see Evelyn being electrocuted.
She's being fried. As Blackburn tells Steven, it's too late, Steven kisses her, telling her he's so sorry. Pritchard's saying it's the house, but Steven's like, it's not the house or ghost. This was a homicide, and it must have been one of them who killed my wife.
He pulls the gun out on them. He threatens to, shoot them, but he gets punched in the face and he's subdued, and he starts to shout wildly into the air, but they take him and they put him in the saturation chamber.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they tell Blackburn, stay behind, watch Price. We're going to look for a way out. And now Blackburn makes the WWE heel turn where he looks at Price and he's like, what's this down here do?
He just starts pressing.
Well, they also don't ask him to stay. He volunteers.
That's a good point, Jen. That's a very good point.
Like he just presses a bunch of buttons and turns a bunch of levers.
He turns on the machine, and now you get to see the insanity of this machine. Because once he turns all these buttons on, he leaves. He just leaves the saturation chamber, and Price starts to see the thing spinning. There's flashing lights. Like Jen said earlier, you see the guy bouncing the red ball.
It's creepy.
It's very creepy. He does notice that there's these goggles to put on. So he puts on these goggles and he holds on to this like railing, I guess.
Yeah.
It's almost. And then he starts to hallucinate.
Yeah. Big hallucination. He's like drawn into, is this another vat? Are we going vat?
We're going vat.
Put into another vat, submerged in water. He sees like this naked woman with like blood, like literally surging out of her mouth. And then again, the woman's mouth encompasses her entire face. It gets very weird with the...
Yeah. It's pretty creepy.
But then the scene's going to cut back to him in the chamber where he sees the image of like you said, the doctor. And then I think it's Evelyn playing with the red ball.
It is.
That becomes his head.
Yeah. Evelyn playing with his head. It's very weird.
Yeah. So Sarah's looking through history and records of the medical staff of the hospital. And she makes the connection that everyone who was invited is actually related to a staff member that survived from the fire in 1931.
Yes. So this is very important because 5 staffers survived the night of that fire. And then you'll learn it would be Price, Evelyn, Pritchard, her, and
Melissa?
Yeah.
Right? Melissa Marr?
Yeah.
Watson walks in, tells them that the house sent out the invitations and that there's a lot of power, like you said, in this house. He keeps mentioning it, but no one seems to believe it. I mean, he mentions it travels through sound waves, phone lines, apparently the internet. Is that how you're telling out?
Internet ghost. It's Pulse.
Eddie notices Blackburn's name is not listed on the medical records list.
Yes. So how did Blackburn get on the list? Well, Blackburn goes back to Evelyn, who we find out is not dead. Well, let's first, he's copping a feel on a dead body first. Yeah. Before, she's not actually dead, but we're thinking he's we're getting a little necromantic real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah. He like makes out with her dead body and starts copping a bunch of feels.
Yeah. So it starts off weird, but then he injects her with something and she wakes up. It was all a ruse. They faked her death so they would make everyone else think that Price killed her. The whole point for Evelyn here is to have one of the guests kill Price so then she can get all of Price's money.
Yeah.
So Blackburn and her, they make out a little while she's alive, but they're guessing like who's going to do it. And Evelyn's like, you know what? We need another death. We need something more, another really bad one to really get the people to kill him.
They need Steven's bloody hands next to it.
Yes. So she stabs Blackburn like 5 times.
Brutally kills him. Okay, helicopters. Yep, we're taken to the skies today, folks. And we're talking about copters. I'm sure you've heard of boats and hoes. Let's talk copters and bros. Thing is, helicopter rides are a lot of fun. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Great time. Blast, really. Speaking of blasts, Hella Fun in the Sun is a new helicopter rental service that takes copter ride-alongs to new heights. I'm sure you've seen people take helicopter rides before. It's a great attraction. But have you ever seen someone ride on a helicopter and shoot a gun out the window? Nope. Not until now. Hella Fun in the Sun is a helicopter ride and tour service that packages the ride-along and gun range experience into one. You can have a comfortable skyline experience while shooting pigeons with a Beretta M9. I'm kidding, of course. But you can actually shoot the Beretta into the sky. Hella Fun in the Sun is a wild ride, literally. But it's a fun, safe experience. and it's heavily monitored with a lot of different safety precautions. A lot of fun, like I said before. Most importantly, you get the opportunity to shoot vertically out of a flying helicopter. Get on a copter, choose from a multitude of different pistols. There's a lot of variety, and you will undergo training only when you are already 10,000 feet in the air and are sort of questioning this whole decision in the first place. So live the rush, get in the copter, and shoot for the skies.
I don't know if she like thinks about placing him anywhere, but that's literally the end of his character.
Blackburn?
Blackburn, yeah.
Well, no, she does do something with the body.
Does she?
That is true.
Yeah.
Eddie and Sarah are asking Pritchett if he's coming with them, but he mentions that Blackburn's daddy would have made it by now. Someone releases Stephen from the chamber. I think it's someone like a dress or a gown or something.
I assume it was
A
Evelyn.
robe?
I think Evelyn really.
It is Evelyn.
Yeah, it is Evelyn.
I just don't know. I don't think they show it.
They don't, but like.
It's heavily assumed.
Yeah, it's just because of
Implied.
her plan.
The rest of the group notices Blackburn's blood all over the operating room. They go to check on Stephen, but notice Blackburn's head is in the chamber, severed from his body.
Yeah, I actually really like this because when they open the door, the body falls and the head is still staring out the window. It's very well done, that scene. They're like, okay, Price is going to murder all of us. So I think it's Sarah starts to stumble back and she like runs into Price, who's like covered in Blackburn's blood. I'm assuming it was like Evelyn smeared it on him.
Yeah.
And Price is like literally begging her for help.
Yes, pleading.
Yeah. He's like, you have to help me. It's like, please help me. And he keeps approaching her. And then I think Sarah shoots him 9 times.
Oh, yeah.
Pritchard and Eddie come, they find Sarah, and they take her upstairs. Now we go into literally like my favorite scene of the movie. Like one of the, like this scene is so good. Evelyn shows up and she thinks Price is dead. And she's like, literally, all of this could have been solved with a simple divorce. She's like, I just want you to know, through all of this, when I first met you, I always loved your money.
I love that line.
Yeah, it's
so
great.
Good.
It's so like.
Doesn't she also mention that like she couldn't divorce because he got a prenup?
Yeah, that is mentioned too.
Yeah.
But it's that other line was funny.
It is because it's like you think in this one moment that she thinks he's dead. Maybe she does have some shit of like humanity. And she's like, even though you're dead, I literally was only the money the entire time. And then the trickster himself gets up and he just grabs her by the head. He like reveals he was wearing a bulletproof vest.
Exposes the vest.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's like, you thought I brought you here to murder you, didn't you? He's like, well, now I am, Evelyn.
Yeah. So I think he picks her up, he kisses her, he throws her through a wall, and I believe he's hearing like these ghostly noises. Tells her to get up, and they see like this darkness on the ground, like creeping towards them.
And this is another scene that's I think is very well done because he in this moment was going to kill her. But I think he wanted to just kill her. When he actually sees that the fucking evil of this house is about to devour her, he's like, I can't even let this happen. Like, This is fucking too much.
She tries to run, but the ghosts grab her. They literally corrode her entire body and then laugh about it.
Yeah. They laugh a lot now.
Yeah.
Okay, so now this is the good point where we can point out the CGI is not great.
Not great. I mean, it's late 90s. We've already pretty much destroyed CGI in late 90s movies.
Yeah.
It's better than some of the other ones, I think, but
Yeah.
like it's not the best.
It's just terrible.
Okay. Jen's like, it just sucks. That's what it
Yeah,
I won't argue that.
Yeah.
It's
just like, you know what? I can't even say they could have done better because it could have been so much better. But, you know, we're at this point.
But
might as well.
I've seen enough movies because years later, many years later, but like maybe 4 years later, watched the movie The Cave.
Yeah, there's some movies that are actually came out after and
where the CGI is so much worse.
We're worse.
I feel like we always go to The Cave because of
it's bad.
It's like, yeah,
it's bad.
Okay. So she's been taken by the darkness. He gets up and he just like, he gets the hell out of there. But he bumps into a cabinet first and the cabinet opens up and you see Melissa, the reporter, dissect it. Like head here, lung here, like tit
That's not
there.
Evelyn?
Like what?
That wasn't Evelyn?
No, that was the reporter.
Didn't it also say that whoever Evelyn's ancestor was or her or her relative that she was invited there because of, it was they were an electrician, right?
I mean, I don't know. I don't remember that being mentioned.
I remember like right before they zoomed in on someone's like occupation, one of the people that survived, and they were an electrician.
It's possible. I definitely could have just missed that because it's a small detail that went by pretty quickly. So as he's running away now from this darkness, because literally he sees the darkness and Evelyn's face appears into it and like speaks to him, so he starts running. We then cut to Eddie, Sarah, and Pritchard, who are trying to like pry open a window with like a pipe, and they hear Price banging on the door, begging them to like open it. And to their knowledge, he was dead, so they're kind of confused.
Oh yeah.
Nope. Completely normal. Open the door.
Pritchard slowly starts to approach this door, and Price sees the darkness coming up the stairs.
Fucking sick dodge.
Yeah. So he just dives backwards through like a wall. Pritchard opens the door, and the darkness just fucking takes him.
Yeah.
And Chris Kattan, rest in peace, my friend. You are gone.
Poor Pritchard.
Steven sees Eddie and Sarah and tells them to run. So he's made like a little bit of a character turn. Steven says that, Pritchard was right. The house is alive. He tells them to head to the attic as the ghosts creep toward them down the hall in the hallway with hysterical laughs. And then they just kind of dissipate.
Yeah.
But then they start tearing up the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Like a bunch of explosives that are going off.
Yeah.
But like they just tear up the ground as they run towards the attic. Steven tells the group he found the way out and to walk up by him.
So they are in the attic. They think they're going to find a way out, but the darkness gets there. It's about to get Sarah, and Price, hero, pushes her out of the way, and the darkness takes Price instead. Saves Sarah. They find this like pulley system up there, and they pull it, and that's how Sarah's able to get outside after Price saves her. Eddie is about to follow her, but the darkness cuts the rope.
I don't know if we've mentioned they're in the attic at this point, so they are at the tippy top.
So they are in the attic. Sarah's outside. Eddie's still in, and he looks at the darkness, and he's like, "Don't take me. I was adopted."
That was so funny. He's like, I'm adopted.
I thought that was the line you were going to choose for the opening of this movie.
It's funny. It's funny. What was the line we used?
The house is a stupid whore.
Yeah, I mean, they're both good.
After he drops his adopted line, Eddie sees that the spirit of Pritchard pulls
the pulley down to open the window for him to escape.
The way I took it is that even though the house is filled with darkness, he was such a good soul. He was still able to like help them.
Yeah.
He just had a sadistic side.
Yeah. He pulls it open. Eddie gets outside. Eddie and Sarah sit and look out. I love that they see the checks, all $7 million.
Yeah.
So they have the money. And then they just realize,
how the fuck are we getting out of here?
Yeah.
Because they are way too high up and there is nothing around. And
there's no way down.
Sunset, but it's cool.
It's bad.
We're not going back in.
No. And that's the end of the movie. They are stuck at the top of the asylum.
That is House on Haunted Hill remake 1999. Shane, what do you think?
I like it.
Me too.
It's a solid movie. It's not a masterpiece. It's a 7 out of 10. I feel like I've been given a decent amount of 7s lately. I think the acting by Jeffrey Rush is over the top in the most glorious way possible. It's the good kind of over the top.
Yes.
He's supposed to be this quirky, weird entrepreneur, like
roller coaster tycoon.
Yeah, exactly. He's a roller coaster tycoon. It's great. Famke Jensen is fucking glorious as this like just I want all of your money. I married a rich guy. When are you dying? Character. It's incredible. Chris Kattan as the house owner, scared, doesn't want to be there. He knows all the lore. He's just going to get blasted drunk because he knows they're all doomed. Great. And then Ali Larder and the guy who plays Eddie, they do their roles fine. Like, there's just the other guys I enjoyed so much more, but there's nothing wrong with their portrayal. The ghost is creepy. Jeffrey Combs, like you said, as the doctor, glitching around, like
terrifying, man.
Very good. Just some of the kills, like Blackburn's death is actually very graphic too. Just the stab wounds. You see the pile of blood. You see the severed body fall. The Karl's death is disgusting, still scary. Like Famke Jensen's death, literally she just gets pulled into a cloud of darkness, same as like Chris Kattan. But it makes sense with the terms of the story. Yeah. But the deaths themselves aren't anything to write home about. Stephen Price, I like that he actually saves Sarah, sacrifices himself at the end of the movie. I like all that. The CGI is terrible, but that's fine. Yeah, it's I would say you're above average 90s horror movie.
Oh, for sure.
So I think 7 out of 10 is a very good place to put it.
I'm with you 100% of the way. I have a 7 out of 10 for this movie. I watched it a few times and I kind of feel the same way. The movie doesn't get old for me. It's very entertaining. Like, this is like when you grade on entertainment value, this is like a 7 for entertainment value because this movie is very, very fun to watch. Character profiles are so cool. You outline them all, so I'm not going to. Yeah. I love all of them. Movie was very scary for me as a kid, not so much anymore, but the one scene is a very well shot death scene. And so are some of the other ones, to be honest with you. I really do enjoy all the scenes. I love Jeffrey Rush. I love the fact that he, of course, had a bulletproof vest on, like very savvy. Him and his wife, very savvy, like just out to fuck each other. It's very funny, but surrounding this ghost story of this sadistic doctor and in this mental institution that's kind of like a haunt. Since 1931 with this horrible fire. The story's actually pretty good. I mean, yeah. I actually kind of enjoyed it. I know we don't expect over-the-top acting. Sometimes I expect a little bit more from horror movies. Maybe sometimes I grade unfairly, but I try. I want to see actors actually act, even though it's a horror movie. But in any case, I got what I asked for here. I didn't expect anything more than this. I was very entertained. I love the movie. I love the cast. They did a great job at casting it. It was very fun. I definitely recommend it. I would watch it again. I've seen it a bunch of times. We'll continue to watch it. I've actually never seen the original, which I definitely would like to watch.
I haven't either.
But yeah, I mean, very easy for me. This is just a 7 out of 10 pure entertainment value and nothing more.
The original is definitely like more anticlimactic. It's because there's not as much like ghostly stuff. Like it's more like use your imagination because it's in black and white. But I remember enjoying it when I was younger. My gut reaction was a 5. I actually bumped it up to a 6 only because I did enjoy the movie just in general. It was an enjoyable watch. If someone wanted to watch it again, I would watch it, but it's not like I wouldn't think to just like, oh, let's watch this. But I gave it a 6 because I thought the score for this movie was fantastic. Like the music selection for the movie was phenomenal.
Marilyn Manson?
Yeah. I found myself like really enjoying like how they like where they place the music and how they put it in there and just like I feel like it did really well for the film. So, very much enjoyed it. Not too much to complain about. CGI kind of sucks. It was the 90s. I'll get over it.
That's my biggest critique too. The CGI was a little cringy, but
I feel like everyone was trying to take advantage of that. They're like, we gotta get on top of the CGI.
Well, that was it. 100%. Like that was the new thing. People were kind of like
testing it out, seeing where it worked.
I do want to piggyback off something Jen said. Sweet Dreams by Marilyn Manson in this movie is kind of perfect for the end credits.
I'm almost gonna be honest with you. I think it's perfect wherever you put that fucking song. Remember in Trick or Treat how fucking awesome it was with the werewolf scene?
It's just a song that works for horror movies.
Well, especially when it's placed
because he is a horror movie.
He is a horror movie. No joke. Like, I know he's got like this whole thing going on right now. I'm not going to touch on that, but besides that, like horror fans love Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
I don't know if they love him anymore, but they love Marilyn Manson.
Yeah.
Besides that, like they love it. He's got a huge following in the horror community because a lot of his music is kind of centered around horror themes. I know another one is Ice Nine Kills because they come out with all these guys they're big like horror fans. They actually in their concerts live they dress up as like fucking Leatherface, Michael Myers, fucking Pennywise. At all their shows their lead singer dresses up as all like these crazy horror icons, so I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I know. I didn't like say too much about this movie because like, this is our last recording of like the batch that we do on the nights we record. So I'm like really half asleep. But I did like, for some reason, I did just remember when you were just talking about that somewhere in the doctor's like office or whatever, or when they're performing the surgery or whatever, that you can see like a Freddy Krueger glove in the background somewhere.
No, that's cool.
Interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah. So there was probably more I could have said about this, but I'm half asleep, so
it's okay.
Too bad. Look it up. Go to IMDb. Look it up yourself. But all right, gentlemen, we have an array of options today of people that we can just lie to freely about resurrecting them, Necronomicon, when in reality we're just not gonna touch any of them. But We can still pick someone. We can still lie to them. It's our like white lie for the day. You know, they'll probably get like punctured with the pogo stick from the leprechaun, but we don't have to tell them that. They can figure it out later. So who do we want to give that honor to?
I know who I'm gonna give it to, but I feel like it's just like such a fucking like not the best death. There's so many good no. See, like I want to give it to I never give off-screen deaths. Like I love that scene with the guy without the face because it's so awesome. But it's off-screen, and I can't do that. I said I wouldn't. So it's not a great death, but I feel like it was important because it was a great character development. Was Jeffrey Rush's character pushing away Sarah to save her to sacrifice himself.
So
Price?
It's Price. So this is what I was going to suggest because Price was mine too, but I want to give honorable mention to Karl.
Which one's
Fair.
Karl?
Because
I like that.
The guy with who loses his face. Because I think I agreed, like, because you don't actually see the carving of it, but I think that's what makes it more effective.
Oh no, 100%.
So that's why I
100%.
think it's a good honorable mention, and we give it to Price. And unless you have something different, Jen, you would like to.
I'm good with that.
Okay, there it is.
What year is this film?
1999, the best years for movies of all time.
That is a fucking fact.
Okay, Shane, have you prepared a eulogy for Mr. Price?
Of course I have. Stephen Price, you were the king of the Scream Park. You made the scariest roller coasters anyone has ever seen, despite probably not being possible to actually do in real life. You were a trickster who just so happened to marry a gorgeous, beautiful, stunning woman who happened to hate you from the moment she set eyes on you. But you didn't know that, and I can't fault you for that. But you knew how to one-up her at every turn. She thought she killed you, you had a bulletproof vest. So you know what you did? You threw her into a room filled with darkness, and the darkness took her. And that made you seem kind of like a bad guy. But you weren't a bad guy. And you know why you weren't a bad guy? Because you sacrificed yourself to the house in order to save Sarah. And that makes you probably one of the most noble people we've actually put in our Necronomicon.
Yeah.
And for that, congratulations, you're in there. Also, Karl, you don't have a face. You're in there as well.
Yep.
I mean, you have an honorable mention. We're not even going to bother lying to you.
No, yeah, you're just there. One thing I will bring up before we wrap this up is there is an end credits scene in this movie of Jeffrey Rush and Evelyn as the doctor and the nurse being tortured by the insane asylum patients.
Crazy.
Yeah. So I assume that's just like their hell is now living the house, like what happened in the house.
Yeah.
So I thought that meant that like it was a preview of like their ancestors, but you said their ancestors survived. So
Yes. Because originally the people being tortured was Dr. Ivanica and the nurse. So they just took their place essentially. Okay. With that said, that was episode 51. It was good. I actually, like I said, enjoyed this. So next week we got a special one. A movie I don't think any of us have actually seen yet. Freaky.
Ooh.
excited for this one.
Yeah, this movie came out this year or last year or something?
Technically now is last year. Full disclosure, we were going to review this movie earlier, but we couldn't find it anywhere.
Yeah, it wasn't in theaters.
And it wasn't available online yet. Now it looks like you can rent it off of Amazon, so we'll actually be able to watch it this time. So, yeah, we're finally going to do it.
Pumped.
Yeah, me too.
I am
excited. Looking forward to serial killer Vince Vaughn.
Yes. I'm so freaking excited, especially like Vince Vaughn acting like a teenage girl in a serial killer's body. Like that just sounds amazing.
Yeah, this should be phenomenal. So we are the final podcast signing off, and we will see you next week. And literally, I know nothing about this movie. I can't give you anything.
How about in Vince Vaughn's body?
How about in the high school?
In high school.
Back at the high school? You could be in the mascot uniform, because remember in the trailer she's in a mascot uniform?
All of it. See you next week. So if you haven't already, please follow us on Facebook and Twitter at The Final Pod Ever. Follow us on Instagram at The Final Podcast. And if you haven't, please give us a 5-star rating on Apple. It really, really helps Apple, push out our content and recommend us to other people to listen to.
Ooh.